Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an honor and privilege to have you guys joining me here today. And in the afternoons, what we like to do here on Open Mic is just all of us standing around a virtual water cooler, just talking about whatever we want to talk about, mostly about movies and movie news, a little bit of TV, a little bit of MMA, or whatever other kind of stuff you guys want to talk about. It's Open Mic. It's whatever you want to talk about. So, we're going to go for the next 45 minutes or so on this stuff. So, let's get things started on this Friday. And the first question today comes to us from the number Thor, who writes, what makes more opening weekend, Avengers or Solo? Oh, that's easy. That no question. It's going to be Avengers. The question is, does Avengers make double what Solo makes? I mean, and I'm not being facetious. I mean, I think it's quite possible that Infinity War could end up making double of what Solo, a Star Wars movie, makes. Because I think it is totally within the realm of reality here and believability that Avengers Infinity War could top $200 million on its opening weekend. I expect it to top $200 million. Whereas Solo, I'm not convinced Solo tops $100 million opening weekend. Now, I got one friend of mine who knows the business very well who thinks it won't crack 50. I've got another friend who knows the business very well that thinks it's going to crack 150, but I'm kind of in the middle. I think the $100 million opening weekend mark is probably as good as it's going to do opening weekend. Could be wrong about that. I mean, we have to get closer to it and we'll wait and see. Got to see another trailer still. But yeah, to me, the question is not, will Infinity War make as much or make more than Solo? The question is, will it make double what Solo is going to make on its opening weekend? That's the big question. And I think it has a shot. I think Infinity War has a shot of making double of Solo. Look, you know, Solo is not the movie people were asking for. But, I mean, it is a Star Wars movie, so it will do well. But it's not going to be, I got to disagree with that one friend of mine. I don't think it's going to be a $150 million opening weekend film. I don't think it's going to be a $200 million opening weekend film. I think if it can hit a $100 million opening weekend, it'll be considered a big success. But Infinity War, on the other hand, the $200 million opening weekend is its target. So it's double. So, yeah, I feel pretty good that Avengers Infinity War is easily going to make more than Solo. The question is, will it make double or not? That's just my only question. All right, next one comes to us from John Doe, who writes, you said if Thanos were to go back in time and kill Agent Carter, then Steve would never have met her. But that's assuming Thanos kills her before she and Steve met. Can he kill her after? Yeah, but then it all becomes pointless. I mean, what's the point of the discussion at that point? Like, okay, Thanos goes back. First of all, why does Thanos need to go back in time and kill Agent Carter? What's the point of that? First of all, we don't have any indication that Thanos can time travel. Okay, let's get that out of the way. But John, if he gets the time stone, well, then if he has to figure out how to use it, then why on earth would Thanos go back in time to kill Agent Carter? What's the point of that? What's the point? And even if he did, well, then what's going on? It's not like, let's say, for example, for argument's sake, that Steve was, okay, he's hanging out with Bucky. Let's see Thanos goes back in time and kills Bucky when Bucky was a child. Okay, then he's killed Steve's friend. But in Steve's world, Peggy's already dead. Agent Carter's already dead in Steve's reality and in Steve's world. Plus, if he goes back in time and kills Peggy Carter, then S.H.I.E.L.D. never gets formed. Maybe Cap never comes out of the ice. Everything's different. Everything changes. So, and again, it goes back to this discussion we had the other day where it's like, people seem to keep wanting to come up with a reason why Captain America is fighting Thor. Well, he wants revenge for something. No, he's just trying to save the world. He's just trying to stop. He's fighting Thanos the same reason all the other Avengers are fighting Thanos, to try to save the world because the world's going to, half the population is going to die. That's what he's fighting for. He doesn't need any more of an explanation outside of that. So, okay, if Thanos goes back and kills Agent Carter before she meets Steve, then Steve doesn't even know about it. She kills after Steve, well, then who cares? All of history gets changed anyway. Steve still goes down into the ice, probably never comes out of the ice at that point if there's no shield. So, I mean, there's just way too much. And again, it doesn't answer the fundamental question. Why would Thanos go back in time to kill this woman he's never met and never heard of? What would be the point of that? So I just find the question kind of circular reasoning. I just don't see the point of it. All right, let's move on. Abraham Asif just sends in super chat. Thank you so much, Abraham. Dakota Barber sends in a question, says, when are you seeing A Quiet Place? As a big horror movie fan, I'm extremely excited for this movie after hearing great things from South by Southwest. I think I'm seeing it Monday. Oh, wait. I can't see it Monday. I'm seeing Blockers on Monday. Oh, I'm not. Oh, I'll have to find out if there's another screening after that. I think I was supposed to see it Monday, but I'm already booked to see Blockers on Monday. So the answer is right now, I'm not really sure. But I am like you. I am completely excited for this film. It ranks very high. Tomorrow on my channel, I'm releasing a little video called The 9 Most Anticipated Movies of April. And obviously A Quiet Place is on that list. I'm not going to tell you where it lands on my list. I'm just going to tell you it's pretty high where it lands. I am very excited for this movie. Hearing the reviews coming out of South by Southwest about it have been nothing short of spectacular. So yeah, I'm really excited to see it. Can't wait to see it. But I think I was supposed to see it Monday, but I can't see it Monday. So I'm the answer to your question is I'm not really sure yet. I'm not really sure yet. All right. Abraham Asif writes, would you delay Scooby Natural for 2 years to get Star Wars 9 this December? Yes. Yes, I would. Although I've already seen Scooby Natural. Oh my God, it was everything I wanted it to be. It was everything I wanted it to be and more. It was so good. So good. And it was the perfect mixing. It was the greatest crossover event of all time. Was Scooby Natural. For those of you who don't know, it's Supernatural did an episode of Scooby-Doo. And they call it Scooby Natural. And it was every bit as glorious as you can imagine it would be. It was so good. I loved it. But yes, I would have put it off 2 years if it meant seeing episode 9 this December. I definitely would have done that. Okay. Anthony R. writes, rejoice, the infamous Anthony R. is now officially your faithful Patreon supporter. Well, thank you so much, Anthony. It's awesome to have you on board. Thank you for doing that, and thank you for plugging the Patreon supporters page. I appreciate that, too. Anthony follows up with, good name for us fans, the Knights of Campea. Put it to a vote. I'm not going to put it to a vote. I'm not sure what... First of all, where did this whole thing come where people want a name for this? I'm not really sure. Knights of Campea is not a bad one. But doesn't it have to be like one word? It doesn't have to be like Potterheads or like one or two words, like Potterheads or Trekkies or something. It doesn't have to be something like that. Anyway, interesting theory. I'm sure people will have their own theories about it and discuss it. Master Jiang writes, PR Uprising or Pacific Rim Uprising angers me. How do you call that a sequel? Where is the cyberpunk aesthetic? No mention of Raleigh. No respect for the heroes in the first one. Well, I'm going to disagree with you. I didn't particularly like Pacific Rim Uprising. I'm going to disagree with you that there's no respect for the heroes in the first one. There's tons of respect. I mean, half of the movie is just talking about Idris Elba's character and how he sacrificed himself to save the world. And his adopted daughter is like one of the heads of the government program. No, there wasn't a lot of mention. There was mention you see a plaque of him, but other than that, not a lot to do with Why Am I Drawn? Charlie Hunnam's character. Fine, but that's just one character. But you can't honestly say there is no respect for the heroes of the first. There's tons of respect for the heroes of the first one in it. I mean, I criticize the movie, but that's one thing you can't criticize for. There was one guy they didn't mention. And even then he popped up, but that made sense. Most of the homage was paid to the Idris Elba character, but that makes sense because they're in the presence of his son. But yeah, there was a lot of respect. I don't really care about the aesthetics. I just didn't think it was a very good movie. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And I really liked the first one. And as far as the action goes, I thought what little tiny bit of action there was pretty good at the end. That big last end battle was really good. But it was so too little too late. It just, for me, it was kind of a disappointment on several. And it's just the plot, the narrative, the story didn't work. That's ultimately the big thing. But anyway, I didn't think one of the problems was lack of respect for the original heroes. Let's see. And the thing glitched. And here we go. Master Jiang writes again. Why doing the robot-loving teenage girl character from T5 and I Am Coming For You set up from Independence Day 2, learning from great hits. I'll be honest with you, Master Young, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'll read it one more time, but I have no clue what we're talking about. Why doing the robot-loving teenage girl character from T5 and I Am Coming For You set up from Independence Day 2, learning from the great hits? If what you're suggesting is that the Amara character was a combination of those characters from those other movies, maybe also borrowing a little bit from the Transformers character, maybe whatever, but I don't know. I did an entire video talking about why do these movies feel the need to have children in them. I'm not really clear on that myself. KW Garrett writes, considering the 50 Shades author had total control over the movies and the awful source material, was there any way those movies could have been good? Probably not. I mean, look, you could have made good movies out of those books with somebody else in charge. Having somebody who doesn't know jack squat about making movies, calling shots, and especially when they were going into the second film and you found out she fired the screenwriters and hired her own husband to do it. It's like, okay, well, this is a lost cause. I mean, they are some of the most epically awful, horrible. It is the worst trilogy of all time. It is the worst trilogy of all time. That is beyond dispute. I just thought, see, the funny thing is, I just thought the first 50 Shades was a bad movie. I didn't think it was particularly horrible. I didn't think it was a crime against humanity. I just thought the first 50 Shades movie was not so good. Okay, it's just not good. It's a bad movie. But, oh my God, once you got into number 2, then it becomes crime against humanity bad. Like, unforgivably awful. And then 3 just somehow topped that. I mean, it's just, ugh. But yeah, if the woman who'd written the books not been involved, and somebody who actually knew what they were doing was in charge, then there was a chance that those books, and I've never read the books, but some people say they're horrible. Okay, fine, whatever. But you could still take that source material and make a good movie at it. You could have. There's a story there to tell. Like, even if you just go into the premise of everything, there's a story there you can tell. And in the hands of the right people who are gifted at telling stories, maybe. But once she was really the buck stops here person and had a lot of veto control, then no, then it was pretty much doomed. Then it was pretty much all doomed from there. And it will go down as one of the biggest travesties in cinematic history. Is those movies. They're just so ass awful. It's terrible. Anthony R. writes, if it's okay to cast a younger Han Solo and dream about Sebastian Stan playing young Luke, I think people might be okay with Streep. Thoughts? Well, I mean, there are a lot of people who aren't okay with them casting a younger Han Solo. And there is a little bit of a difference, because if you tell a young Han Solo movie, you can't use Harrison Ford. You just can't. I know there's people like say, just use CGI to change his face. Well, you can do that for about 5 minutes, but you can't do that through a movie yet. You just can't. So that just doesn't work. So I think people most understand, well, okay, then if you're going to make the young Han Solo movie, which some people don't even want them to do, but if you are going to do that, most people with common sense understand you have to recast. There's no choice there. You have to recast. With the Leia thing, and I get it. I mean, look, I am not angry at people who don't want them to recast Leia, because I understand that their motivation for not wanting to recast Leia comes from a place of wanting to honor Carrie Fisher. So I can respect that. We're on the same page there. However, I just thoroughly, 100%, unequivocally disagree that the way to respect her is to piss on her legacy and just write off this character she spent decades developing for us and write her off in an off-screen spaceship accident. Or just say she dies in an opening crawl. To me, that's fucking ridiculous. Just beyond idiotic. I mean, full respect to people who feel that way because they're coming from a place of wanting to respect Carrie Fisher. I can appreciate that. I'm just in total disagreement about that pissing all over the legacy of the character is the way to honor Carrie Fisher. Hello? Anyway. Off on that. But again, there is a difference between the Han Solo situation, because most people understand if you're going to do the Solo movie, you have to recast. There are going to be a number of people out there who just don't feel like you need to recast Leia, which I think is ridiculous and totally dumb, but It is what the opinions of some other people are. And I respect that, but I'm going to hold a totally different opinion on that. And also the idea of Sebastian Stan playing a young Luke. Again, first of all, that's never going to happen. But even if it were, people understand if you were going to make a movie with a young Luke, you got to recast. You can't use Mark Hamill, so they understand that. This is a different situation. Like if we were talking about making a movie about a young Princess Leia, most people wouldn't have any problem recasting. Well, there's no choice. You have to recast. But now, talking about this ongoing, continuing Leia, the question is not about recasting. The question is about, do you continue on the character at all without Carrie Fisher? And that's the issue. So the situation is different from the ones you're laying out there, Anthony. I think that's why there's a difference between them. Mr. Film writes, just rewatched Beetlejuice. What an odd movie. Oh, I know, right? That movie's totally nuts. I mean, that movie is completely crazy. I want to tell you guys something just because you mentioned Beetlejuice, but I shouldn't. Shh, I won't say anything. Some of you know what I'm thinking about. Some of you know exactly what I'm thinking about right now, but I'm not going to say it. You'll just have to find it out for yourself. Yeah, totally crazy movie, totally different, but hey, it's a Tim Burton film. There you go. The number Thor writes, could we ever get a Jaws 5 about Quint and the USS Indianapolis? I think it would be a good premise. Your thoughts? Oh, they already did a movie about the USS Indianapolis. And Nick Cage, there was with Nicolas Cage. Hold on a second, let me pull up the name of the actual movie, if I can find my mouse. Here we go. Nicolas Cage, USS Indianapolis. Yeah, the name of the movie was called USS Indianapolis Men of Courage. And it was a movie that came out, I think, I'm going to say 2 years ago, is when it came out. Now, it didn't have the Quint character. It wasn't a prequel to Jaws, but there is a movie about that event. And if you do a movie about that event, I don't think you disrespect it by making it a Jaws movie. I think that's a little disrespectful to the event of what happened there and the tragedy that happened. I never watched the USS Indianapolis Men of Courage movie with Nicolas Cage, so I don't know if it's horrible or if it's good or whatever, but I don't think you can take that event and make a mockery out of it by doing a Jaws 5 sort of thing. I just, and I'm not super sensitive about things, but that's something I think a lot of people would be sensitive about. And I don't think you can probably do that. Florian Stump just sends in a super chat. Thank you, Florian. John De Silva writes, happy Easter. I'm a big Leaf fan from Toronto. Hey man, I bleed blue and white. Did you hear about Scott Foster, 36-year-old accountant, played goal for the Blackhawks last night after goalies went down? First star of the game. You know what? I didn't hear about that because nobody talks about hockey in Los Angeles. So no, I did not hear about that. That sounds like something you make a movie about. 36-year-old accountant played goal for Blackhawks last night after the goalies went down. First star of the game. That is something you make a movie about. Even if it's just that one game. That is totally something you can make a movie about. That's awesome. Thanks for letting me know about that, John. I'm going to hop on ESPN later. Or probably go to tsn.ca and see if I can find some more information on that. Chris Warden writes, John, your response to my Jennifer Garner / Iron Spider comment on Wednesday was perfect. The smirk on your face and awkward silence said it all. Love you, man. Keep on killing it. Loyal follower since 2013. Thank you so much. Yeah, two big things I'm known for talking about. It's the Iron Spider and Jennifer Garner. Oh, that woman. So beautiful. Anyway. Okay. Thanks a lot, Chris. I appreciate that. All right. Next one comes to us from Anthony R., who writes, Sir Campea, please knight me as one of your future mods. You're the best. Well, thank you so much. And for those of you who don't know, I did one round, this is months and months and months ago, where if there are people who are Patreon supporters of mine that would like to become moderators of the live chat, because I could certainly use help, because I can't moderate the live chat while I'm doing it. Because it's over there, I can't have my eyes on the chat board, and keep my eyes on the screen, and keep my eyes on the main stream stats, and think about what it is I'm trying to say all at the same time. So a while ago, a number of months ago, I asked my Patreon supporters if there anybody like to be mods. One or two of them stepped up. They kind of stopped doing it. I think it's like changed times of the show. But I'm going to ask again pretty soon if there's any Patreon supporters who would like to help moderate. It'll have to be people who've been Patreon supporters for a while, so there's a sense of trust in the community. But keep your eyes open, Anthony. I will be going forward with that fairly shortly. All right. Lincoln Johnson writes, "Hey, John, I've been watching the series Justified on Amazon. Have you seen it? What a great show." I only watched a couple of episodes, and what I saw was good, but it's like a number of other shows I've watched or caught. It's like, oh, yeah, this is pretty good, but I just didn't have any time to really get into it and watch it. And the true answer to the question is no, I haven't watched it. I've seen a couple episodes, but really, no, I haven't. But a lot of people talk about it. Let's see. Mr. Film writes, recommending The Marvelous Miss Maisel, amazing show. It is beyond fantastic. I think at the Emmys it won like Best Comedy Series, and the woman who plays the lead, who is basically my friend Ashley Oxford, sounds exactly like her. Anyway, if you have not watched The Marvelous Miss Maisel on Amazon, take the time and watch it. It is unbelievable. One of the funniest new shows I've seen in the past 3 or 4 years. One of the absolute funniest new shows of the past 3 or 4 years. It is brilliantly written. First of all, it's just a great story. The characters are wonderful and rich. It is so funny, though. It is such a well-written show. My highest recommendation for The Marvelous Miss Maisel. Check it out. It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. There's a reason it won all those awards. John Hayek writes, exclusive, John's secret DCEU news revealed Warner Brothers executives do not give Aquaman a standing ovation. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the funniest things is there's this trend right now about stories of early screenings. Here's a news flash. Almost every single one of these news stories you hear about, early screenings, early test screenings, all BS. Maybe like 5% of them have some accuracy to them, but for the most part, complete BS. There was an early screening of this movie and everybody loved it. BS. There was an early test screening of this movie and everybody hated it. BS. Just throw those away. First of all, anybody who was involved in those screenings signed NDAs out the nose. They're not getting reported on. But I saw it on Reddit. Well, that should tell you enough right there. Anytime you see stories about early screenings happened and this, BS. Just complete BS. There might be the odd example of a time that maybe there's some validity to it, but it's in a sea of BS ones, so you should never really take any of them at face value. There was an early screening of Justice League and got a standing ovation. BS. There was an early screening of Justice League and it was called unwatchable. BS. Just don't believe any of those. Just never. If you ever see a headline with that, just skip it. Just skip it. Okay. David Billaris writes, disappointed we will not see Kylo and Leia scene. Well, hey, look, there's still a chance. I don't think they're going to recast Leia, but there's still a chance. And if they do, then maybe we'll get that Kylo and Leia scene. Because we should have one. John Hayek writes, oops. And again, a whole bunch more questions came in. What's Ray Orr writing? What food will be at the festivities tonight? I'll get to that one in a minute, Ray. Let's see. Keep going back. Here we go. John Hayek writes, in all seriousness, though, favorite Kubrick film? Probably 2001. I mean, I don't see how you not make that one the one. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Let's see. Brian Esparza writes, thoughts on Children of Men? Oh, I love Children of Men. Children of Men, actually, it's kind of funny. Let me just look up something here on Children of Men. Children of Men, whenever I think of Children of Men, one of the things that really confuses me is, what the hell happened to Clive Owen? Because Clive Owen, who did he piss off? Like, whose wife did he sleep with and got caught? Because that dude is, first of all, he's got the Hollywood leading man good looks. He's got for sure, he's got all the acting talent. What happened? How is he not a leading man superstar in movies today? I just don't know. And Children of Men is a great example of his talent. It's a wonderful movie. It's a great, I mean, it's dystopian and sci-fi and mystery and thriller, like kind of all wrapped into one. It's a terrific film. It's a really terrific film. Let's see. That was Brian's question. The number Thor writes, Over or under 60% that they replaced Tyrese's Roman character with another character played by John Cena in Fast 9. Well, I will take the under on that because I believe it's way under that John Cena actually gets put in Fast 9. However, I will take 60%. I'll take over on the 60%, not 100%, not even 80%, but I'll take the over on 60% that they replace Tyrese. I think they should. And that pains me. I've been a fan of him for a long time. I've loved his character in the Fast and the Furious movies. I was just at Universal Studios Hollywood again and was on the Fast and the Furious kind of tour ride, and seeing him on there is great, but that dude totally broke trust. That dude started airing dirty laundry, started going after one of his co-stars in the movies publicly. He just kept going on and on and on, and he damaged the brand. He broke trust. There's no way you can keep him around. I mean, if I was the head of the studio, he's gone. Doesn't matter that I was a big fan of his. It doesn't matter. You broke trust. And I don't think we can ever trust you again. You're out. Or else you're going to damage the franchise some more. So I would kick him out. So I'll take the over on the 60%. Now, I hope he lands on his feet. And I hope he's able to recover from this. And I hope he's able to continue to have a successful career. But as far as the Fast and Furious franchise go, he would have to go. I mean, he broke trust. Let's see. But as far as John Cena being it, I don't think so. It'd be fun, but I don't think so. Sam Fisher writes, did you see the stuff from Marvel's Cloak and Dagger? What do you think? I'm really excited because I love these characters, and it got great reviews at South by Southwest. No, haven't watched. Haven't watched that stuff yet, so I really can't comment on that. But I have been fascinated about it ever since they announced they were going to do it, but I haven't seen any of the stuff yet. Florian Stump writes, hey, John, would you agree that American Psycho is from the point of view of the villain? It depends on how you define the character. Is he a villain? Or is he just a guy who snapped? Is he a cautionary tale of capitalism in America? Is he a villain? It's difficult. See, I've had some other people bring up American Psycho 2 before, and how great was Christian Bale in that. But I've had a number of people bring up Psycho to me before, and I'm not really sure. It's certainly not the villain from the traditional understanding of a villain. Like, it's not the traditional understanding of a villain, per se. So, I don't know. I mean, there's certainly a discussion there to be had. I'm not so sure it's cut and dry, though, to be honest with you. Murray for Us writes, many fans felt The Force Awakens was too similar. Well, actually, Murray, I answered that on a video earlier today. So that was the exact same question that I already answered on a video earlier today. Brian Esparza writes, favorite movies of the 2010 decade. Oh, I don't do list questions, man. I don't do list questions. But thank you for sending in a question. Mr. Film writes, Nightcrawler is a villain-centric film. Again, I don't think so. I mean, it's as close to a villain-centric film as possible. But he's not a villain in this traditional sense of villain. And he's not even really truly, he doesn't even really truly go bad until like the end of the film, really, when he's finally gone. Like, we see him on this dark path, for sure. But, and I don't want to give too much away for anybody who hasn't seen it, but for most of that movie, he's not the villain, per se. He's not a good guy. He's not a hero, certainly, but he's not a villain. And maybe by the end of the film, he kind of is getting there, but in the traditional, like, the Joker is the villain. You know, Darth Vader is the villain. Hans Gruber is the villain. The murderer in whatever movies are the villain. The whole thing about the character Nightcrawler by Jake Gyllenhaal, he doesn't fit into that mold. He's certainly not the good guy, certainly not a hero, but I'm just not sure that you can call that the villain role. Anyway, that's just the way I kind of see it. Let's see. The number Thor writes, my friend recommended that I watch the movie Life with Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal. I would like your opinion on the movie before I watch it. Is it worth it? Nope, not worth it. It's not horrible. But I was so excited for that movie because the cast is amazing. It's such a great cast, and the premise is fantastic. And honestly, I was like, yeah. If you're asking me straight up if I would recommend it, I would recommend go watch Black Panther again first, or go watch Ready Player One. Go watch Ready Player One or something. I wish I could recommend it, and maybe there are people who enjoy it. Great, that's wonderful. But if you're asking me my specific opinion and my recommendation, I can't give it my recommendation. Sorry about that. All right. Josh Baker writes, do you think Adam Warlock appears in Avengers Infinity War or Avengers 4? No. I mentioned that before. I don't think he's going to appear. I think if he was going to appear anywhere, it would be in a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, maybe Guardians 3, but there's just way too much other stuff going on in Avengers to start throwing... Look, I'm already concerned. My big concern about Avengers, and I'm going to do a video, I think, in the next week or two called My 3 Biggest Concerns About Avengers Infinity War. Now, don't get me wrong, I think the movie's going to be awesome, but if I was going to have worries, I've got 3 particular worries. But one of those worries, so you won't be surprised in the video, is, and I've mentioned this before, is that it might come across as convoluted. You've got 75,000 characters in this movie. You know, with the merging of 47 different storylines, and you got 2.5 hours. I am concerned. I'm not saying they're not going to handle it well. I'm just saying I'm concerned about it. And now people are saying like, well, what if, Thanos going back in time to kill Peggy Carter is one of the angles. And what if Adam Warlock's an angle? And what if Captain Marvel becomes in an angle? And you're like, now we're adding in 85 more characters and 73 other possible story things. It's too much. So I'm going to take a wild guess at no. Anything is possible though. And I'm not sitting here telling you I've talked to Kevin Feige and he assured me that Adam Warlock is not going to be in this movie. Not at all. Not at all. I'm just having a hard time imagining why they would. It's already so convoluted that I think it'd be a difficult thing to do. Let's see. Now up to Ray Oro. What food will be at the festivities tonight? Well, Ray is, of course, my brother-in-law and Anne's brother, my wife's brother, who does so much of the great graphics work that you see on the shows. Ray's been doing an awesome job. And a bunch of people are coming over tonight to celebrate Anne's birthday. What food? Well, we got beer we ordered a bunch of beer. We got some beer. We got some alcohol here. I think Anne is making some lumpia. I take that back. I know she's making lumpia, but then I think we're just going to order a bunch of food too. So, I don't think Anne wants to spend a lot of time cooking. Neither do I. So we'll have a bunch of stuff here. So, text me and let me know what time you and Ryan are coming over. So just so I know what time you guys will be here. Okay. Enough with the family talk. Now into Yuchihia Obido writes, ever given the anime Death Note a try? Oh, yes, I have. Please don't be deceived by the atrocious live action film. Yeah, man, that was terrible. Look, because the anime was really good. Don't get me wrong, I don't put it on like top 5% of all time animated stuff like some people do, but it's good. It's solid. And I was really excited. I think a lot of people, because of that, were really excited by that live action Netflix thing. Oh my God, that Netflix thing was bad, man. And granted, that would be a tough one. That would be a tough thing to do live action. And it showed, because it did not come across right. It did not come across well. It felt completely flat to me. Could not get into it. It's really a shame. All right, next up, we've got Rex Cousins, who writes, did you hear that AMC is planning an entire universe around The Walking Dead with multiple spin-offs? Thoughts? I think it's awesome. I don't know. I'm really over the zombie thing. And you already have a universe. As long as you got 2 separate franchises, you got Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. You've already got now a television universe. And yes, I have heard that they were talking about another one too. And to me, I don't know. I'm over it. I'm over the whole zombie thing. There's just so much. And, yeah, to me, it's just a little bit too much. But yeah, I've heard. And you know what? AMC is doing some really cool things. I've read about a few of the shows they've got coming up that they're working on that sound really fascinating. They're trying some very bold stuff. But I don't know, man. It just seems like this Walking Dead thing is a little too late. But anyway, who knows? Who knows? Maybe it'll all be a big hit. And let's see. If it's good, it'll deserve it. Chris Miner writes, thoughts on the Montreal screw job? What's there to say? It was the screw job. They double-crossed Bret Hart. I can kind of see why they felt like they had to double-cross Bret Hart, but yet it was double-crossing nonetheless, make no mistake about it. But it is what it is. It'd be interesting to see a movie about it sometime. Med6814 just sends in a little super chat to support us. Thank you so much, Med. I appreciate that. Joseph Lee writes, have you heard the new report about New Mutants that just came out from Tracking Board / Jeff Snyder? A really interesting read, if true. Nope, I haven't read anything new about it other than when they... hold on a second, let me just pull something up here. Not since the new stuff. Not since the new stuff. But apparently the story you're talking about just went up like an hour ago. So I was clearly already getting ready to do this. But I will check it out. Obviously, I know Jeff Snyder, clearly. So I will check that out once I have a chance. I've got the story open here, so I'll read it when I have a chance. But again, it looks like the story just dropped like an hour ago, so I haven't had a chance to look at that yet. Let's see. But thank you for bringing that to my attention, Joseph. Med6814 writes, have you thought about adding the anniversary to your Patreon page? There's not much there. You know what? That's not a bad idea. Although there is a ton on my Patreon page. I mean, like podcasts, behind the scenes videos, all that. There's tons of stuff there for Patreon supporters. Putting up the anniversary on my Patreon page just for my Patreon supporters to watch. I might do that. That's actually not a bad idea, man. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, just look, if I do that though, remember, do not evaluate this movie compared to the movies you go to see in theaters, because it's a bag of crap. Compared to real movies made by real filmmakers, it's a bag of crap. Watch this movie as a buddy you know made a movie. Just watch it on that level, okay? Please. I'm super proud of it. I am. I'm very proud of that movie. But from the point of view of a dude who's never made a movie before, knows nothing about making movies. That's how it's made. So keep that in mind when you're watching it. But that's actually not a bad idea. I might do that. Let me think about it for a couple weeks. But I might actually do that. It's not a bad idea. Ray Archuleta writes, who wins in a fight, Dominic Toretto or Batman? It's funny because that exact question was already on the video today, the companion video today. The title on the video is Ready Player One a video game movie? The John Campea Show companion video. That exact question was asked, and I answered it on there, so go check that out. Let's see. Okay, more questions. Here we go. Where are we at? We're at Eric the Normal One. I like that name. That's great. Worst case scenario. With the delay of New Mutants, would that give them enough time to reshoot the whole movie if they wanted to? Well, yes. Because you can you'd shoot the whole movie in about 3 months. So yes, you could. But now you're doubling the budget. You're more than doubling the budget. Now you're spending double the money again, and you're drastically decreasing the chances that you can actually turn a profit on the film. So they could. Yeah, they can. I don't know that it makes much financial sense, but they can. Okay, Number Thor writes, I'm from the United Kingdom and my girlfriend lives with me in London, but she is from New Brunswick, Canada. Oh, really? Very cool. And she said, hi to you, John, a good fellow Canadian. And I was born right next door to her. I was born in Halifax, Nova Scotia, which is right by New Brunswick. And I've been there many, many times. It's a beautiful part of the country. So thank you for saying hi, man. And congrats on getting yourself a good Canadian girl. Let's see. Anthony R. writes, chances we see a hologram of Luke, Han, and Leia together. Would it be cheap? Yeah, that would be a cheap pop. I mean, I understand anybody on the surface saying, oh, imagine if they pulled out like a hologram picture of Han, Leia, and Luke together. But honestly, that it would come across to me as a cheap pop. And beneath them. Unless there's a way for it to completely fit into the story. If there's a way that it's just very natural that they would come across something like that and it's natural and it fits in, fine. But otherwise, on its surface to me would feel like cheap fan service and a cheap pop. That might actually be a little bit distracting. So I would lean away from it, again, unless they could figure out a way to make it totally a part of it. But why do that? I would kind of stay away from it, I think. Punet Singh writes, did you hear Warner Brothers canceled distribution of Ready Player One in India? All screenings canceled. Has something like this happened before? Really? I have not heard about that. Let me let me just pull something up here. Ready Player One India. I'm not seeing anything about it being... No, there it is. Ready Player One being canceled all over India. Really? I'm only seeing it on Reddit right now. I'm not seeing that anywhere else. So I don't know if it's just because it's on Reddit. I don't know that's ready. I'm not seeing anything else on that. I'll have to look into that. But that, if they are, I have no idea why they would be doing that. I'd have to look into that. Interesting. The Number Thor writes, is Jerome in Gotham the Joker? I don't know. I'm just going to say, who cares? Who cares? Anthony R. writes, people are saying that many years need to pass in episode 9 to allow rebuilding and training. Won't this give the First Order more time to take over the galaxy? Yeah, no, you don't. It doesn't need to be many years. It can be... look, here's the one thing. I will agree with this. That I think in this movie, unlike between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, where it just simultaneously just happens right away, I believe there should be a little bit of time. But whether that is a month or 6 months or a year, that's fine. This notion that it has to be years. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be that at all. So we'll just see. Let's wait and see. Because remember, in The Last Jedi, they have allies out there. Allies who didn't respond to Leia's call, but they are out there. So we're talking all it would really take is a matter of weeks for her to like gather those forces up if they wanted to do something like that. It doesn't have to be years. It can be years. Sure, you can tell your story that way, and that could totally work great. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be. There's lots of different mechanisms there. You could say it's been 5 months, it's been 6 months, it's been 8 weeks, whatever. There's many things there, but I will agree that there should be a little bit of a lapse of time at least in between those films. All right, let's see. Ben Lorenowitz writes, no Jeremy Renner or Paul Rudd on the Infinity War poster, meaning their names don't appear. Does this mean anything? Well, I mean, that's been a big topic of discussion for weeks now. They're not in the trailers. They're not in the promotional posters. They're not anywhere. Yet we know they're both in the film. We know they're both there. My belief here is that, well, Jeremy Renner's already said that Hawkeye has his own separate mission in the movie and in the story. And other people have speculated, and I like this speculation, that part of his mission is finding Captain Marvel. I think that's part of what he's doing. I don't know that. I'm just guessing. That's it. The Ant-Man thing, I have a feeling that Ant-Man and the Wasp, the movie coming out shortly, is going to be a direct connection to Infinity War. Therefore, I think they're not showing him at all to keep as secret as they can what his role in it is. It is very fascinating. And it's funny, when you go to the Russo brothers official Facebook page, go check this out. The Russo brothers official Facebook page, their header image is the Avengers Infinity War poster, but every character has been replaced with Hawkeye. And I think that's something that there's this online artist, I can't remember his name, Boom something, I can't remember his name, but I think it's one that he did. It's a fantastic poster, but even the Russo brothers are kind of pushing the joke a little bit. But yes, I definitely think it means something, but what their absence from marketing means, we won't know until April 27th. So we're just gonna have to wait around for that. Next one comes to us from Tin2214, who just sends in a super chat. Thank you so much. Ben Lorenowitz writes again, Mr. Miyagi and Daniel, or Marty McFly and Doc Brown. Better 80s mentor-mentee relationship. I enjoy Marty and Brown more, but Miyagi and Daniel more emotionally impactful in my opinion. Well, to me, it's a no-brainer. It's definitely Miyagi and Daniel. That was an actual mentor relationship. I never got the sense of a mentor-mentee relationship between Doc Brown and Marty. They had great chemistry together. Chris, what's Chris's last name? It's Michael J. Fox and Chris, I'm forgetting his name. Anyway, the guy who plays Doc Brown. They have great chemistry and they're great on screen together. But if you're asking me the better mentor-mentee relationship, I'm going to go Miyagi and Daniel, because Miyagi literally taught Daniel everything he knew. There was a true mentorship kind of relationship there that kind of became a father-son thing. The Doc Brown Marty thing, well, it's great. It's more like he's my friend who happens to be that crazy scientist up the road. So I never really felt it. So if you're going to define it as best mentor-mentee relationship, I'm going to take Miyagi and Daniel. Tin sends in a few more and then sends in an actual question when he writes, 3 directors are making a movie, okay? All of them have the same script, same cast, same cinematographer, same crew, etc. How different can the movies be? Very different. Very different. Incredibly different. Because, look, you take the same story and really think about it on this level. You and a pack of your friends, you have the same story, but 3 different people tell the story. It's going to come across different. Because it's all about the mouth that the story comes out of. As far as how it's told and all that kind of stuff, they can end up being very different movies. Like, not completely different as in, Night of the Living Dead versus 40-Year-Old Virgin different. I mean, not that different, but they can come across, one can be significantly better than the other. It's all about the storyteller. And the skill set of storytelling is a very unique skill set. And it's very unique from director to director to director. So you can have all those other things the same, but it all comes down to who is telling the story. And that's why I believe, yes, very much so. The different directors in that chair, the movies can come across extremely differently. Can come across very differently. Let's see. Where did it go? Frost11977 writes, is it me or does one of the bots in Pacific Rim Uprising look like HK-47? Don't know who that is. You lose Star Wars points, meatbag. I'll be honest with you, I'm not completely sure who we're talking about with HK-47. The only person I know who talks about meatbag is Dr. Afra's droids, referring to people as meatbags. But unless that is the droid's number, but I don't think it is HK-47. So, nope, sorry, don't know who you're talking about. Let's see, Dylan Trost writes, you said we already have a full Solo trailer. I'm confused. Don't we only have a 45-second TV spot and a 20-minute teaser? I mean 2 minutes, 20-second full trailer. I don't know. I take that. Let me see here. Let me just bring this up. I take that Solo trailer as a full trailer. I really do. I interpret that trailer as a full trailer. I don't think of it as a teaser. I don't think of it as a glimpse. Let me see here. I don't think of it as a little glimpse. I don't think of anything like that at all. I see it as a full thing. And it's like a 2-minute trailer. It's not like a 1:20. So, I mean, it all depends on your definition. You can call it whatever. I consider it a full trailer, personally. Hector Riaz writes, saw Ready Player One last night. Just amazing. Oh, it is. It's absolutely incredible. I love that movie so much. I was not prepared for how much I was going to enjoy that movie. I mean, really. We've been recommending it for days now. Get out and see Ready Player One this weekend. It's a movie that's not going to make a ton of money, and it totally deserves to make all the money. So go check it out when you get a chance. Let's see here. Next one comes to us from Tracy E. And Tracy E. writes, is it possible that Disney made a deal to use Silver Surfer and Fantastic Four before they decided to buy Fox? Well, I mean, is it possible? Sure, but they didn't. And here's the other thing. With them having this pending deal and needing to the government needs to give their punch off on it, or else the government could take them to court as antitrust, just like they're taking AT&T and Time Warner to court right now. And it looks like they might win. The government might win that case. With that being the case, Disney and them have to be extremely careful to have nothing to do with each other. They just have to. Because the moment they look like they're colluding or muddying the waters in this, they would just strengthen a government case for antitrust. So that's why Kevin Feige, and he has no reason to lie to the public. Kevin Feige has never lied publicly. Kevin Feige has already said he is not even thinking about X-Men or Fantastic Four or any of that. He said he's not going to give it 1 ounce of thought until after the whole deal goes through. And that's at least a year away. If it even goes through at all. Because like I said, right now, it looks like the government, they might win this case, this antitrust case, and stop the merger of AT&T and Time Warner, aka Warner Brothers. They could stop it. And that ain't going to help the case of the Disney-Fox merger. They're different cases, but man, momentum's a tough thing. Precedent is a tough thing in courts. So this deal may not even ever really happen. But even if it does go through, it's at least a year away. They cannot start doing these little back channel deals like that. It will totally screw them over. And Kevin Feige has already publicly said he's not even thinking about X-Men, Fantastic Four, none of that stuff until the deal is finalized. Then he will begin to think about it. But until then, it's business as normal. Is it theoretically possible? It's theoretically possible, but it's highly unlikely. So I would guess no. Anthony R. writes, what does he write? Come on, John. HK47 is from Knights of the Old Republic. Thank you. Yeah, it's a video game. Whatever. Yes, it's from the video game. Henry Gomez. Let's take these final two questions, and that'll be it, guys. Henry Gomez writes, thoughts on the reports of Matt Damon passing on the main villain role in Spider-Man Homecoming 2. Haven't heard those reports. Don't know if they're coming from a reliable source or not. So I don't know why Matt Damon would be the right guy for it. And then I don't know why he would pass up on it, but who knows? And the final question we're taking today comes to us from the number Thor, who writes, is it possible that Aquaman could make more at the worldwide box office than Justice League did? Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Is it possible? Sure. But we've seen that the audience has lost interest. If they didn't go to see him in Justice League, I don't see them running back out to see him and think. But look, who knows? Look, if James Wan and the folks over at Warner Brothers, particularly the folks at Warner Brothers and the marketing department of Warner Brothers, if they pull out a killer marketing campaign, it could. I mean, let's face it, Justice League only made like $650 million. Now, for a lot of other films, that's huge. For the comic book genre and a movie called Justice League, it's a failure. So it's not like Aquaman would have to reach this insanely high bar. Like, it's not like you're asking, can Aquaman make as much as Black Panther? Really what you're asking, take the word Justice League out of it. Could, theoretically, Aquaman make $650 million at the box office? It's possible. I don't think it's likely, but it's possible. I'd give it a 10% chance. And that's a legit chance. 90% that it doesn't, but I'd give it a solid 10% chance that it could reach or exceed $650 million. Because that's how low the bar is. So it's possible. But at the same time, let's not put undue pressure on Aquaman. It's not like Aquaman needs to make as much as Justice League to be successful. Hey, it's a standalone film of somebody that a few years ago nobody would have wanted a standalone film from. If Aquaman comes out and makes $500 million, I consider that a success. I do. I would consider that a big success. If it can make more than Justice League, all the better. All right, guys, that will do it for me for today's installment of Open Mic. As always, an awful lot of fun talking to you guys. Hey, don't forget, tomorrow, the John Campea Show is on tomorrow morning, but there will not be a John Campea Show on Sunday. There will also not be a Star Wars Talk Sunday on Sunday either, because it is Anne's birthday weekend. I am taking Anne out of town. I'm going to do the John Campea Show tomorrow morning, and then Anne and I are going out of town for 2 days, and then the John Campea Show will be back on Sunday again. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. So again, special thank you to all you guys who are here, especially those of you who are submitting questions, keeping the conversation going and supporting the channel as well. Massively appreciated, guys. That'll do it for me for now, guys. My name's John Campea. Have an awesome weekend. And until next time, bye-bye.